Chapter 6. Happy Birthday, Iggy. Iggy woke up very, very early on her birthday. It was still dark and the birds weren't singing. She ran around upstairs in the house, giggling. She burst into my room and then ran out again, burst into Mum's and Dad's. "Wake up, wake up, wake up!" she shouted. "It's my birthday!" Mum said, "Happy birthday, darling." Dad said, "Even the birds are still asleep." I got out of bed and went to join in. I love birthdays, and Iggy's birthday is the best one after mine because she gets so excited you think she might pop. Dad was lying on his tummy with his pillow over his head, and Mum's hair was all funny. Iggy was screwed up into the tightest, most excited ball in between them on the bed. Her face was all screwed up too, and her nose was all wrinkly, and her smile was the biggest, widest thing about her. "Birthday!" she squeaked. "I know!" I squeaked back. "Exciting!" she squeaked. "Sleeping," Dad said. "Not anymore," said Mum. "Coffee," Dad said. So Mum and Iggy and me went to make Dad some coffee. Downstairs in the kitchen, it was definitely Iggy's birthday. There was a pile of presents on the table and a heap of cards. There was a piece of string hanging near the ceiling with bits of paper pegged on it that said, "Happy Birthday," all across the room. Each letter was as big as a page and coloured in hearts and stars and dots and things. "Wow!" popped Iggy. "Cool," I said. "You like?" said Mum. She was wearing her dressing gown that Dad says makes her look like a monk. She looked really sleepy. "Wow!" popped Iggy again. The light in the kitchen looked really bright because of the dark outside. I felt like we were on the inside of a TV. Now nobody else is awake," Mum said into the sink. Iggy was dancing around the kitchen. She was twirling and flipping, and her nightie made a circle round her, and her feet went shuffle shuffle on the floor. Can she open a present?" I said to Mum. "Ooh, present!" Iggy said, and she stopped twirling. There were 6 presents on the table. They were wrapped up in paper with spots and birds and stars and funny stick people on. The one with the funny stick people on it was from me. "Can she open mine?" I said. "Yes, yes, 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 yes," said Iggy. She held her hand out for it. I took it off the pile and gave it to her. "Happy birthday, Iggy," I said. Suddenly, Iggy looked very serious and important. "Thank you, Flo," she said, and she stared at the paper and gave my present a squeeze. "Let's go and open it with Dad," Mum said. She carried 2 cups of coffee up the stairs in front of us. Iggy was next, carrying her present very carefully, like there might be a living creature inside. We all knew Iggy had been hoping for a puppy or a kitten or a guinea pig or a hamster, especially a hamster. My present for Iggy wasn't any of those. It was a pencil case, a blue pencil case with rainbows and aliens all over it. It was the nicest pencil case I'd ever seen. I was really hoping that Iggy was going to think so too. She squeezed it again on the way up to the stairs. She didn't know it was a pencil case yet. For a living creature, it was keeping very, very still. Dad was sleeping again. Iggy and me woke him up with bouncing. He groaned. "Come on, Dad," Iggy said. "I've got presents." Dad sat up. "Oh," he said in his best little girl voice. "I love presents." Iggy made sure we all were looking. Then she started to unwrap her presents slowly, peeling off the sticky tape and smoothing out the creases of the paper. "Can I have a nap while you do that?" said Dad. "Shh," said Iggy. "No." Iggy liked her pencil case. She gave me a big hug and a kiss, and we were a bit bouncy again. Dad spilled his coffee. "Ips," Iggy said, smiling at him. "Sorry." After her pencil case, Iggy concentrated on her breathing and didn't say anything. "What's up?" Mum said. "Nothing," said Iggy. "I'm trying not to open another present until after breakfast." "OK," said Mum. "Can you have breakfast now?" said Iggy. Iggy's birthday breakfast was hot chocolate and little pancakes with banana and syrup. We ate it while the sun was coming up. The light through the kitchen window was all pink. "When's my party?" Iggy said with a mouthful of pancake. "It's after lunch," Mum said. "What?" Iggy said. She looked horrified. "That's ages. Can we have lunch now?" "You're still eating your breakfast, silly," said Mum. Why don't you open another present? Iggy opened a whole pile of presents at the table. She got a jigsaw puzzle map of the world, a dress to wear to her party, a first aid kit for her toy hospital, a book token for £10 and a game of Scrabble. Thank you, said Iggy, and wow, and cool, and I've always wanted one of those. When Mum and Dad got up to clear the table, Iggy and me went upstairs to do her puzzle and bandage her teddies and try on her dress and look at her book token and play Scrabble, all at the same time. It didn't feel like very long at all before Mum called us to say that lunch was ready. She and Dad had been hard at work. Downstairs looked like a party was about to happen. The table had a cloth on it, and there were red paper plates and purple paper cups and party hats and streamers and balloons everywhere. How did you do that? Iggy said, her eyes all over the place. While we ate lunch, we could see the sandwiches for the party and the crisps and grapes and strawberries and sausage rolls and little cakes. We weren't allowed to touch those. Everyone will be here in an hour, said Mum. Just then the doorbell rang. Somebody's here now, I said, and Mum and Dad smiled. Iggy jumped up to open the door. It was Granny and Grandpa. Granny was at the door and Grandpa was getting something out of the back of the car. Happy birthday, said Granny, and she gave Iggy a big hug. Thank you, said Iggy, with her eyes on Grandpa. What are you doing? She said. Secret, he said. Close your eyes. Iggy did, but not for very long. What have I got? She said, with one eye open. I don't know, said Grandpa. Why don't you come outside and see? We all went out to the car, Iggy, Mum, Dad, Granny and me. Grandpa had got the thing out and put it on the pavement. It was a big and covered in a bin bag. I guessed what it was straight away. Is it for me? Iggy said. Yes, Mum said. Have a look. Iggy lifted a bit of the bin bag and had a peep. Oh, she said, like all the air was coming out of her at once, and she ripped the bin bag off in a big hurry. It was a bike. A blue and pink and yellow and silver bike with tassels on the handlebars and a bell and a special seat for teddies at the back. Ooh, Iggy said again, just staring and staring. She covered her eyes with her hands and then she looked again to make sure it was still there. Happy birthday, Iggy, said Granny and Grandpa. Iggy and me and Granny and Grandpa went for a bike ride around the block. We walked and Iggy wobbled. This is the best birthday ever, she said. When we got back, it was only 10 minutes until the party started. Iggy and me put on our party hats and waited by the door. Dad tied 2 balloons to the gate so everyone would know which house to come to. Iggy was allowed 6 of her friends from school. Everyone arrived at once. They all bought presents and they all talked at 1,000,000 miles an hour, like Iggy. It was brilliant. We played Pass the Parcel and musical bumps and musical statues and sleeping lions. Sleeping lions is when everybody has to pretend to be asleep. And if you move or make a sound, you're out. The last person to move is the winner. It is Dad's favourite party game for children. Iggy won Sleeping Lions. She was the best by far. She didn't move a muscle or make a peep. One by one, her friends got caught moving or opening their eyes or saying something. I was out just before Iggy. You're the winner, Iggy, Dad said. She didn't move. Iggy, said Mum, you've won. Come on, get your prize. Iggy didn't even open her eyes. Her face was all squished against the carpet and her hands were tucked under her chest. Suddenly she let out a soft little snore. Iggy was fast asleep. Mum tried to wake her up, but Iggy stayed asleep. It was no good. Nobody could wake her. The mums and dads came for Iggy's friends. They whispered goodbye to Iggy and took their party bags home. Iggy carried on sleeping. When everyone had gone and the party was all tidied away, Iggy was still asleep. Dad carried her upstairs with me and Mum following behind. He put Iggy to bed in her party dress. She didn't wake up. Happy birthday, Iggy, we whispered, and Mum turned out the lights.